In the text message, there was a phone number for him and 2 words below it. And quote, "Good night, sweetheart," and quote. First, he was very angry, and then he cried badly. He had never felt worse than Salah in his previous life, and he still feels no worse than him. And quote, "Talk to Aman. And the doctor also talked to her. She got married. Bring her home too. Do we have any part in any work? Or not?" And quote. Sikandar said to him, leaving with the initial salam prayer. He is in his Mecca today. Salah thought for a while and said, he just came back from Saeed Ahmed's house. And quote. Baya. You are also staying in your in-law's house. You picked me up and came to your apartment. Alexander mocked him. He laughed in response. And quote. Mummy is there. And quote. He changed the subject. And quote. Yes. Why do you have to talk? And quote. No. For now you have to talk to yourself. Rather, you have to talk more seriously. And quote. Iskandar sat up straight. Ye Salah. Iskandar said. And quote. If it was serious, then surely it was serious. And quote. What's the matter? And quote. I actually want to tell you something about Aman. And quote. Iskandar got confused. He told them in Aman's bar only after the marriage. Actor Sabat Ali's daughter, with whom he married in an emergency because of his personal reasons. Iskandar Osman. By Thora Salah. Who knows actor Sabat Ali? They had met 2 or 3 times. Instead of the daughter of actor Sabat Ali. He did not object even when he married any girl without informing her. He and his family. He was so liberal and so generous, however, he was a special case. It was not possible for him to get married in a human way. This was the doctor's comment. Ya Thawa Abba Wur said that he was safe. Tell me about what is there to say in Aman's bar? Salah cleared his throat. He didn't know how to start the conversation. Aman is Imam in essence. Tamhid. He had never tied in his life. How did Farab tie? The other side was silent. Iskandar felt there has been some misunderstanding in listening to him. What do you mean? He asked for confirmation. Imam was sheltered by the doctor in his house. She was with him for so many years. He changed her name to protect her. I did not know at the time of marriage. He is Imam, but he is Imam. Except for the last sentence, he didn't find the rest of the details. Stupid. Iskandar Osman, with his breathing stopped, got out of his bed with bare feet, opened the door of the bedroom, and went out in a hurry. Shocked. One thing. The romance of this son does not end. He will come back in 2 hours. The doctor thought a little faintly and turned his attention to the TV again. Sikandar Osman's bed was getting bright outside the launch. He was able to express his happiness and satisfaction at the settlement of his last child from the doctor. Just a few hours ago, William was planning and he forgot about time. He was the last child of Salah. Iskandar. After talking and listening to him for 2 hours in the lounge, when he finally came back to the bedroom, he was already asleep. But Iskandar Osman's sleep and Aratman and Danu had left. Iskandar Osman was not angry with him, but he could understand all the worries that suddenly arose in his mind. All his relations with the family of Hashem-Mobeen had been completely cut off for so many years, but despite this, everything was calm. But Joe became convinced, if Iskander Osman and Salah have no relation with the real Imam, then the whole circle will slowly sit down. Salah must have had no hand in running Imam away. However, it is difficult to prove that the evidence came to light 9 years later. They were not could. After talking to them, he lay down on the bed to sleep, and at that time he remembered Imam once again. He turned his neck and saw an empty bed and a pillow. "Remember me." For a few moments it seemed as if they were. From this pillow to her shoulder and from her shoulder to her chest, that black silk scarf started to wrap around her once again. He didn't try to turn off the light. It wasn't last night that he fell asleep in the dark. ****. She didn't sleep all night. Anger, hurt, regret, and tears. Even at the time of Suri, Eskadal did not want to get out of bed and face Saeed Arma. If she didn't force him, she would fast for the whole day. Back in the room, then she once again saw the problem of Salah on her cell. She closed the cell and went to sleep with a blanket wrapped around her. Salah called him from the office around 10 o'clock. This time he called the landline of Saeed Arma. "And Quat? Imam is sleeping. And Quat?" he informed with a little coldness. "And Quat? Well, tell her to call me when she wakes up. And Quat?" he messaged. "And Quat? She'll see if she gets the chance. And Quat?" Saeed Imami said this who hung up the phone. He was holding the cell in his hand. For the next 5 minutes he was in the same position thinking about his daughter Saeeda Arma. Imam received his message and Saeed Imam also gave him the answer given to Salah. He remained silent. "And Quat? I will go to AJ by Saheb and Quat," said Saeeda Arma looking at him quietly. "Live today. Salah's family is coming. They will talk later. And Quat?" Imam said to Saeed Imam. Salah called around 12 o'clock and said he heard her voice. "And Quat? Thank you. I am lucky to hear your voice. And Quat?" She was silent in response. "And Quat? The actor's arrival is about to arrive. Get ready. And Quat?" Salah informed him without noticing his silence. "And Quat? What else is to be done?" "And Quat?" Imam replied. "And Quat? Who knows? And Quat? And Quat? Your parents won't eat. And Quat? And Quat? No, it's at the other party's house. And Quat? And Quat? I will prepare myself. And Quat?" he said bluntly on this information. "And Quat? But he is not calling us, but Mimi, Papa. And Anita. And Quat?" She became a little lighter. "And Quat? But you have to do something to be beautiful. And Quat? And Quat? No one in my family fasts or anything like that, but I will ask and I will get some. There is a lot of milk in the fridge. Don't get into this fight. And Quat? And Quat? Hello? And Quat?" Salah checked his presence on the line. "And Quat? I am listening. And Quat?" he replied. "And Quat? Imam? Why are you and Saeeda Imam staying up every night? And Quat?" Salah finally asked the question that had been bothering him since the previous night. "And Quat? That's right. And Quat?" She couldn't answer for a while. "And Quat?" And Saeeda Arma's hair was also cut off. "And Quat? And Quat? I don't know. You ask. And Quat?" he said in the same way. And quote. I wanted to ask, but I don't think it's appropriate. And quote. In response, Imam remained silent. And quote. Come on, get ready now. Get home. Text me. If I'm free, I'll call you. And quote. He wanted to say and quote. No need and quote. Asterisk 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 asterisk. She arrived at the actor's apartment at about 11 a.m. and checked the first 2 bedrooms. There was no need to keep anything. Salah certainly did all the work himself before going to the office. He was gone. He once again felt his existence useless. One bedroom was probably already used as a guest room, while the other bedroom was also used as a study. Stacks of C sizes and V sizes on C-shaped racks looked. There were recliners and TVs in the living room, but their number was less compared to the room. There were also a few musical instruments in the room, and a study table, on which there was a mirror. That study table. It was the only thing in the room that looked disorganized like the old paper files. And the basic organizer. He forgot to fix it before he got up. Or maybe he didn't have time. For a moment he wondered if he was fixing those papers, and the next moment he shook the thought out of his mind. And if any paper is written, what happened? He closed the door and went out. There was a lot of real food in the fridge and freezer. And he was sure that 90% of them were owed to Furkan and Noshan. The result of the purchase was in him there were a limited number of rinks and tin-packed phoa items in addition to the flowers. Imam did not like only one thing in the food. See, if his stomach was not empty due to ruse, he would start vomiting after seeing the crabs and prizes on the table. With him put the tins back in the fridge. Of course they weren't bought with the intention of curing them. He would have bought them and eaten them. Ya pata chalna thaha in he opened and closed the kitchen cabinets. He guessed that there was no room in the kitchen besides the fridge, plenty of cabinets, and a rack of clothes. The kitchen was only for breakfast. Besides the sandwich meals, only tea and coffee used for. There were no cookware of any kind apart from a few franc pence. The kitchen contained crockery etc. and contained an inner seat and water seats. Also, there were a few mags or breaks. Fast seat. The number of people visiting his house was also less. He came out of the kitchen. The only part of the apartment that was discovered was the balcony. He opened the door and came out, and the first place he came to was his heart. It would have been more appropriate to call Connie Terry's Garin. There were different types of bales of different shapes and sizes, and even in the very cold weather, its condition was telling. Special effort and time was spent on them. Green plants from Tu Belen had a spectacular view, but Salah's balcony was definitely the best. There was also a man-sized living room in the balcony. And there was a mat on the wall near the balcony. Maybe on a weekend or in the cold weather. He did not understand the purpose of his existence. A stool was placed near the temple of the balcony. He was definitely sitting there. To look down, there were some traces of mew on the temple. He drinks tea or coffee sitting here. But sometime, probably at night, he thought. And then zoomed down. It was the 3rd floor and below the building was the lawn and parking lot. There was also a view of the road outside the compound at a short distance. It was a posh area and there was not much traffic on the road. She came back inside. She had just changed and was doing her hair when she heard the sound of the bell again. He immediately thought of it as a novelty. But a delivery boy of a restaurant was waiting at the door to take some packets. And quote, I didn't ask. And quote, he may have come to the wrong apartment, and quote, he said. He replied by repeating Salah Iskandar's name with the address. For a few moments she was silent. At least he is not so careless in his bar that he forgets to make some arrangements for his iftar. She was thinking that he would leave the office to pick up his parents and she might not even remember him in the rush to get to the airport. By keeping these packets in the kitchen, his anger and resentment decreased to a certain extent, and this may have been the effect that he felt it necessary to call and inform the landlord and thank him. At that time, he was going towards Air Purga. He immediately received the call. Imam told this in the food bar. And quote, I often order dinner from this restaurant. Their food is good and quote. He replied casually, I thought, and quote, you'll be starving by the time I get home with these logos. And quote. She wanted to thank him, but suddenly she felt that it was a very difficult task to say these two words to Salah, a strange hesitation that she felt. It was nearly 19 o'clock and she was uncontrollably nervous at the sound of the bell. Even though she did not want to, she was afraid of the reaction of Salah's family. Even as a neighbor, there was a very formal relationship between the two families and later events ended this formality as well. He remembered talking to Iskandar Osman on the phone many years ago and maybe the reason for his concern was that call. While opening the outer door, he felt that his hands were also shaking. 19 people including Sikandar Osman met him with great enthusiasm. The reticence and silence she was looking for in his attitude was not immediately apparent. Imam's nervousness decreased a little. During Farkan's visit to the house, his nervousness decreased even more. Anita and Taib continue to drink and talk to him in a friendly manner. Noshin and Farkan had met Salah's parents before, but Noshin was meeting Anita for the first time and the topic of Dunov was their children. He was listening to these people like a silent listener in an extremely calm manner. She did not want her marriage to be a topic of discussion in Furkan's house. After returning to his apartment, Sikandar and Tayyeb sat in the living room for the first time, talked to him, and then Imam sensed in their tone the hidden concern that Imam's family expected. They were from action. His confidence disappeared once again. Although he did not speak publicly about Hashem Mubin or his family in front of the Imam, he wanted to hold the function of Lug Abu Walim in Lahore instead of Islamabad. She wanted to hear Salah's opinion, but he remained silent during the conversation. When the number of silent pauses during the speech began to increase, one of the imams realized that this was the cause of the incoherence in the speech. They are not able to talk openly because of this. And quote, absolutely, son. You go to sleep, you will wake up for the morning. We will be staying a little longer. And quote, on the pretext of his sleep, Iskandar Osman said immediately. She got up and came to the room. It was very difficult to sleep. 2 days ago she didn't even think about the worries, now she started thinking about them. It is thought that Sikandar Osman wants to keep the marriage of this couple a secret so that his family does not know about it. She sat on her bed for a long time thinking about the worries and dangers she was feeling. At that time, sitting there alone for the first time, she thought about how much risk Salah had taken by marrying her. Whoever marries her would necessarily make himself vulnerable to some degree, but in the case of Salah Alexander. The situation becomes worse because the revelation of his relationship with her. Chances were high. What more could he do? He thought. He would never kill me or Salah. He still had a blind faith that his family would care so much. More than likely, they will try to take me with them by force and then ask for a divorce and get married. One more tale added to the confusion. Maybe everything wasn't as simple as she thought or tried to think. It was not a matter of getting married of one's own will, it was a matter of changing one's religion. Feeling knots in her stomach, she sat back on the bed. At that time, marrying a barbarian for the first time was a mistake. Once again, she came to the edge of the ditch that she had been avoiding for so many years. Asterisk, 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 what will happen? The doctor said, lying on the bed. And quote. What is happening now? And quote. Iskander Osman replied. He knew which way the doctor was pointing. And quote. Ahmad-m7f found out. So. Asterisk, 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 that is why it has been said to keep Imam in Lahore. Islam did not bring Abad. Anyway. For PH, and it has to be gone next year. Until then, everything can be covered and quote. Said Sikander Osman while taking off his glasses. They were also going to lie down to sleep. Stay quiet for a while, then Hanu said. And quote. I have a big feeling, Imam. And quote. And quote. Better than your son. And quote. And quote. Sikander Osman said Turkey to Turkey. Tayyab is angry. And quote. Why is it better than Salah? There is no match for it. And quote. Tell yourself honestly, there is something in this that he sat for 9 years. And quote. Alexander laughed. And quote. What are you laughing so much about? And quote. And quote. They are big. And quote. Alexander was indeed in a very happy mood. And quote. I am really happy because my son is very happy. After so many years, I have seen him talking like this. I have never seen such a smile on his face in my life. She is married to Imam, a burden is lifted from my shoulders. You have no idea how embarrassed you were in front of him. And quote. They were listening to him quietly. He admitted that he was not saying wrong. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. In his sleep, they were pulling him by tying a rope in his hand. The ropes were tied so tightly that her wrists began to bleed, and with every stroke she writhed in pain. She was being taken as a prisoner among the people in a market. On both sides, people were laughing loudly. Then one of the men who was pulling the rope tied to his wrist jerked the rope with all his might. She fell on her knee on the rocky path. And quote. Imam. Imam. It's me. Go. It is time for you to finish the magic. And quote. And quote. He got up and switched on the bedside table lamp. Salah kept waking him up by gently shaking his shoulder. And quote. Sorry. I may have offended you. And quote. Salah apologized. She stared blankly at his face for a while. She was used to seeing such dreams in past years, and the chain of dreams was still unbroken. And quote. What are you dreaming about? And quote. And quote. Salah asked, shaking her hand as she kept it in her lap. It seemed that she was still asleep. The Imam gave his blessing. She was not asleep. And quote. You slept without a blanket? And quote. Salah said while pouring water into the glass. Imam suddenly fell on the bed and saw the blanket. He really grew up like this. Surely he did not come to sleep in the room at night. The heater in the room was on, and she had to get up because of the cold. And quat. Come quickly, there are only 10 minutes left. And quat. And quat. He left the room holding that glass of water. After washing his hands, when he came to the sting area, he had done his magic and was busy making tea. There was no one else in the lounge or kitchen. There were already dishes for this on the dining table. And quat. I make tea. And quat. And quat. Instead of doing magic, she started taking out mugs. And quat. And quat. You should pray calmly, the Adhan will be called soon. I can make my own tea, but I can also make it for you. Salah took the mug from his hand and sent it back. She pulled out a chair and sat down. And quat. Are they all sleeping? And quat. And quat. And quat. Yes. You are already asleep. And quat. We have been talking all night and maybe you are getting disturbed because of our voices. And quat. And quat. No, I fell asleep. And quat. And quat. His accent was very harsh. Salah realized, she was very upset. And quat. Has anyone had a bad dream? And quat. And quat. He placed a mug of tea on the table and pulled a chair and sat next to it. And quat. Dream and quat. And quat. No. That's it and quat. She started eating. And quat. What time will these people have breakfast in the morning? And quat. He asked, changing the subject. He laughed. Involuntarily. And quat. You guys. Who are you guys? You are your second family now. Mummy, Papa. Call them and Anita to Anita and quat. She was uncontrollably embarrassed. She was actually using the same 2 words for him every night. And quat. You won't have breakfast. And quat. It will go up to 2 o'clock now. There is a 10 o'clock flight. Salah changed the subject, sensing her embarrassment. And quat. 9 o'clock in the morning. Why are you leaving so early? And quat. He was surprised. And quat. I just came to meet you guys. Papa has a meeting tomorrow and Anita has left her child with the employee. Her little daughter is only 1 month old. He said. And quat. I'll drink tea. Instead of breakfast, he'll make you. And quat. I will pray now, then I will get ready for the office with them and after seeing him at the airport, I will go to the office. Salah stopped yawning and picked up the empty tea mug and sat down. Imam looked at him with a little surprise. And quat. You won't sleep. And quat. And quat. And quat. No, I will sleep after coming from office in the evening. And quat. And quat. You take leave. Imam said fluently. Going to the sink, Salah turned around and looked at Imam and then laughed uncontrollably. And quat. Take time off from the office to sleep. And quat. This does not happen in my profession. And quat. And quat. You didn't sleep at night, that's why I'm saying. She was adamant about it. And quat. I have been working for the UN for 48 hours without sleep. And quat. That too in extreme heat and cold. In disaster-struck areas and at night, my daughter is talking with father in perfect conditions. Why are you sleeping? And quat. Azan was going on. And quat. Now please don't wash. I have to wash my dishes. And quat. Imam stopped him while emptying the mug of tea. She took out the tea bag and started throwing it in the waste basket. And quat. Okay. 2. And quat. Salah happily put the mug in the sink and turned it over. He just ran while removing the well of the well. Along with the leg, the tea bag was held in the hand like an idol. Salah took one look at him, then saw something inside the hood that shocked him. "Non-alcoholic," he said in a low voice and went out of the kitchen. She was uncontrollably embarrassed. He was sure she couldn't see it inside the cave, or the empty can of ginger beer, where it was, but she knew what she could see. He read ginger later, beer first. And if it wasn't for Salah Iskandar's house, his mind would have gone to non-alcoholic rinks first, but his mind would have gone to the other side. Involuntarily, as Kurt was throwing away the tea bag, he also noticed the word non-alcoholic on the can. She stayed there for a while, trying to get over her regrets. "I don't know what he was thinking in my bar," and Salah was also really shocked. He was trying to build a bridge of trust between the two of them. Sometimes he was leaning on one side, sometimes on the other side. He last drank alcohol 8 years ago, but he drinks energy and non-alcoholic drinks almost every night. While at work, it didn't take seconds for Imam to see the shock next to the wastebasket and know that what was in the wastebasket could be shocking for him. He belonged to a corporate skater, and the parties he went to had alcohol on the rink's table, and every time the drink was blackened by someone for probably the last 8 years. He will not think even once the crowd is speaking, because none of them knew Salah Iskandar 9 years ago. But a person who came to his house 2 days ago, he had strong reasons to doubt any of Salah's words and actions. And quote, "Ya sab, tu ho ga hai. If you don't do such a move, then it is acceptable." And quote, "When the past is not so clear, it takes time to build your confidence." And quote. Going towards the outer door, he acquitted Imam by taking all the blame on himself with great ease. And quote. "How much do you press?" And quote. He asked in the bedroom. He was undressing in the living room. And quote. "No, my shoes are pressed." And quote. He smiled while pulling out a hanger. Imam remembered one of his cousins. And quote. "You saw my earrings. I kept them in the washroom. I didn't find him there." And quote. And quote. And quote. "Yes," I said. From there, they were on the racing table. Salah took 2 steps forward and raised his earrings towards Imam. And quote. "They're old. You walk with me today, I will take you back." And quote. He was dressed in an earrings canoe. And quote. "This was given to me by my father when I got admission in medical school. I'm not old. You don't need to waste your money." And quote. Imam didn't even bother to look back to see its reaction. She opened the bedroom door and went out. He remained there for the next few seconds. She was offered out of love, as she was struck in the face. At least Salah felt it. He did not realize that he had made this offer out of love into something he had to fulfill. He was a man. He could not differentiate between necessity and love. That woman died distinguishing between necessity and love. Actor Sabat Ali had a chance to talk to Saeed Ahmad this morning. He used to call after 2 or 3 days to find out about his well-being, and even today he used to call to ask about the health of Saeed Imami. She fell asleep as soon as she heard their voice. Actor Sabat Ali is listening to them in disbelief. They did not understand anything of Saeed Ahmad. And quote. "Aman told you that Salah is talking about his first wife." And quote. He did not think that there was any mistake in listening to Saeed Ahmad. And quote, she is crying uncontrollably, even on the phone, and sitting next to me. The landlord did not treat her well. He does not talk about it in the right way. Brother, you have done great injustice to the child. And quote, Syeda Amma was always passionate. And quote, I think there has been a misunderstanding. They both came to me. They were absolutely fine and happy. And quote, the actor was getting less and less worried and more surprised. And quote, and on his return from your house, he visited him here. She cried all night long. And quote, hello, how are you? And quote, he was a first-timer. And quote, then what else? Salah did not want to take it. Her mother and father are coming every day. So she was forced to take her. And Amana is also very worried. She has been sitting quietly all day. You used to give great praises. You are a good, righteous child. But it turned out to be very bad. It has already started to bother me. And quote, at this time, actor Sabat Ali's style was becoming bright. Imam was sitting quietly at his house that night, but he did not suspect that there was any kind of difference between them. And quote, well, I'm sending the receiver, you come my way. And quote, Salah is also invited for iftar, then I will talk to him. And quote, Imam closed his eyes involuntarily. This was the one thing she didn't want at the time. And quote, he is coming from office very late today. He came at 9 o'clock every night. Maybe he couldn't come today. He said in a weak voice. I call and ask him. Actor Sabat Ali said. And quote, gee. And quote, he said with difficulty. Why he was ready to marry anyone with his eyes closed. Would he justify any engagement for not coming to the iftar invitation? She knew what answer the actor Sabat Ali was going to get. After hanging up the phone, she started biting her nails involuntarily. Hello, sweetheart. And quote, 5 minutes later, he heard Salah's voice on his cell and his conscience blamed him badly. And quote, when the servant wakes up, he sends a message. He calls. He doesn't just wake up and start preparing to go. And quote, he was casually leaving without assessing the nature of the situation. Imam's sense of guilt increased. Dr. Sabat Ali invited him to iftar without saying anything to him. And quote, the actor was talking about iftar now. I told them that I will come early from office today and bring you with me. He kept telling her. A little bit of hope for Imam. If he came home first, she would have talked to him, apologized, and informed him about the expected state of the doctor's house. He breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, it can be. And quote, but if you want to go, I will send you. And quote, Salah offered it in the next sentence. And quote, no, I will go with you. And quote, Imam said without authority. And quote, okay, then I tell them. And what are you doing? And quote, to his heart's content, he saw that she was trying to get out of the hole she had dug for Salah. And quote, Furqan's maid will come to clean today. She usually cleans after she dies in the morning, but you are sleeping at this time, so I did it at this time. And quote, what is prohibited from coming? You call the sister-in-law and tell her when she will send it. And quote, he was probably in the office at that time, so he was talking for a long time. And quote, say something, man. Why are you so quiet? And quat. And quat. And quat. No. He is like that. And quat. He growled involuntarily at her question. And quat. Are you free at the moment? And quat. He asked in a very cautious tone. If he had finished, she could still talk to him. And quat. Yes. The evaluation team is gone. At least today we are all very relaxed. And quat. Good comments, guys. And quat. He was telling it with great confidence. She was caught up in his conversation without considering how to start the conversation. And quat. Today, if the actor doesn't invite me, I'm thinking where to eat out at night. There's an industrial exit in Fortress. There's going to be. But I'll do it. And quat. They will leave their home after the Fortress. And quat. The saying of dying in water was first understood by the Imam today. It was not said conversationally. In fact, in some situations, even a little water is sufficient for soaking. She was trying to start a conversation and she didn't understand how to do it. And quat. Okay. Then I told the actor. He will be waiting. Before he could say that, Salah ended the call. She sat with the phone in her hand. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. He came home at about 4 o'clock and she was at a loss as to how she should talk to him. Salah did not come up. He asked her to come down on the phone. When she sat inside the open door of the house, he greeted her with a smile and a nod. He was talking to someone from his office on the phone. He was continuously engaged in the same call while calling towards the house of Dr. Sabat Ali near Hands-Free Khan. It was built on the life of Imam. If he kept on talking all the way, on a signal he patted Salah on the shoulder and signaled him to end the call. In a state of utter confusion. Results came immediately. After talking for a few more minutes, Salah ended the call. And quat. Sorry. A client is having a problem. He said after ending the call. Will you go to Islamabad? And quat. His next sentence gave the Imam's attention.